Welcome to Cosmo Publishing. You just tuned yourself to the coolest place to learn all about self-publishing. We are a turnkey quality service provider, from interior formatting to custom covers and everything in between, including book marketing and advertising. It is the company that books a lot.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cosmo Publishing Podcast, the place where we explore every corner of self-publishing, from writing and formatting to marketing and distribution. I'm your host, Gürhan, co-founder of Cosmo Publishing and Cosmodio Books. Together, we provide complete publishing solutions, everything from manuscript formatting and custom cover design to global distribution, Amazon ads, social media campaigns, and full-service email marketing. Today, we are unpacking a decision that shapes how your book reaches readers, KDP Select versus wide distribution. In plain language, KDP Select means enrolling your ebook in Amazon's exclusive program for a limited term, which unlocks certain Amazon benefits, while wide distribution means making your ebook available on Amazon and everywhere else you can, such as Apple Books, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, Google Play, Cosmodio Books, and library platforms through aggregators. For paperbacks and hardcovers, you can also think in terms of Amazon only versus using additional print channels. This choice affects discoverability, royalties, promotional tools, library reach, and even the rhythm of your launch calendar. If you are new to publishing, this can feel like a fork in the road. Pick one path, and you might worry you are missing out on the other. Choose the other, and you might fear you are leaving Amazon tools on the table. The truth is simpler. Both paths can work. Your job is to match the path to your goals, your genre, and your timeline. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you are releasing a fast-paced romance series. Your readers binge. They finish a book in a weekend and want the next one right away. The Amazon ecosystem rewards binge reading with page read, payments for enrolled titles, daily visibility from readers who browse the store, and promotional slots that can spike momentum. For this author, KDP Select can act like a booster rocket during the first months, because the audience already lives inside that store and reads heavily on Kindle devices and apps. Now imagine a different author. She writes thoughtful literary fiction and teaches at a community college. Her readers buy paperbacks at indie bookstores, borrow ebooks from libraries, and listen to interviews on public radio. For her, wide distribution fits better. She wants her ebook in library catalogs. She wants print available through additional wholesalers. She wants to meet readers wherever they shop, not only inside one store. Both authors are making smart decisions. They are just serving different audiences. You will also hear strong opinions online. Some swear that KDP Select is the only way to gain traction. Others say going wide is the only way to build a long-term career. Here is the grounded view. KDP Select concentrates your efforts in one ecosystem, which can create fast feedback, daily data, and powerful promotional levers, but you trade exclusivity for those benefits on the ebook side. Wide distribution diversifies your reach and builds resilience across many stores and library networks, but you will not have certain Amazon-only perks, and growth can be slower at the beginning. A quick story. A thriller author I worked with launched book one in KDP Select for 90 days, stacked promos, ran Amazon ads, and saw strong page reads that funded aggressive advertising. After book 2 and book 3, he had a steady income stream from reads plus sales. When he felt established, he moved book 1 wide to test other stores while keeping newer titles in Select. He treated distribution like a dial, not a switch. Another story. A nonfiction wellness author wanted her book in libraries and in international stores that are popular outside the United States. She published wide from day one. Sales were modest in month one, but library borrows and retailer features built over time. At month 12, her revenue across non-Amazon channels matched Amazon, and her book continued to sell steadily without relying on a single store. In this episode, we will keep it simple and practical. We will define KDP Select in everyday terms. We will explain what wide distribution really looks like for ebooks and print. We will walk through benefits and trade-offs for both approaches using examples you can copy. We will talk timelines, launch strategies, pricing, royalties, page reads, libraries, series tactics, and how to switch paths without losing momentum. If you have ever asked, should I enroll in KDP Select or should I go wide, this episode is your guide. No jargon, no gatekeeping, just a clear comparison so you can choose with confidence. Grab a notebook. Think about your reader, your genre, and your goals for the next 6 months. By the end of this episode, you will know which path to take right now and how to adjust later as your catalog grows. Ready to dive in? Let's start with a plain language overview of KDP Select, what it offers, what it requires, and who it helps most. Then we will look at wide distribution, how it works, and when it shines. Section 2, how KDP Select works in practice. Now that we've defined what KDP Select is, let's talk about how it actually works in real life, because knowing the theory is one thing, but understanding how it feels when you're the author using it, that's where things click. When you enroll in KDP Select, you're agreeing to keep your ebook exclusive to Amazon for 90 days. You can renew after that if you like, but every term is separate. That means you always have a choice every 3 months to stay or to go wide. Think of it as renting a seat at Amazon's VIP table. You can keep sitting there as long as it's worth it, or get up and explore other tables when it isn't. During those 90 days, your ebook becomes part of the Kindle Unlimited subscription catalog. That's where a lot of the magic and the money happens. Millions of readers around the world subscribe to Kindle Unlimited. They pay a monthly fee and get unlimited access to books in the program. For readers, it's like an all-you-can-read buffet. For authors, it's a pay-per-page system. Here's how that system plays out. Let's say your ebook is 300 pages long. A reader downloads it through Kindle Unlimited and starts reading. Every page they read earns you a small amount from Amazon's global fund. If they finish the book, you earn for all 300 pages. If they stop halfway through, you get paid for the pages they did read. The fund changes a little each month, but typically it works out to somewhere around half a cent per page. That might sound tiny, but it adds up fast when you have lots of readers or when you write a series. If you publish 5 books and each one gets read by hundreds or thousands of people, you can earn a steady monthly income without ever making a traditional sale. That's one of the biggest reasons why authors who write in bingeable genres like romance, fantasy, mystery, and thriller love the program, but it's not just about the page reads, it's also about momentum. Amazon's algorithm loves engagement. When your book gets downloaded, read, reviewed, and borrowed, Amazon's system sees activity. That activity can push your book higher in recommendation lists, and customers also bought sections. So even if you're not running ads or promos, being in Select can sometimes help your book stay visible to readers who read similar genres. Let me give you a real-world example. A romance author launched her debut novel in KDP Select. She priced it at $3.99 and also made it available in Kindle Unlimited. She scheduled a free book promotion for the first 3 days of her launch week. Over 10,000 people downloaded it. She didn't make any money on those free days, but when the promo ended, the book jumped high in the rankings. It appeared in front of thousands of new readers, and the borrows began. Within a month, she had earned more from page reads than from direct sales. Now she didn't stay exclusive forever. After 3 90-day cycles, she had built a loyal audience inside Amazon. When she released book 4 in the series, she decided to take book 1 wide to reach new readers outside Amazon. That first book acted as a gateway, bringing in readers from other stores and driving them back to her main series on Amazon. In other words, she used Select strategically, not as a permanent home, but as a launch ramp. That's one of the smartest ways to use KDP Select. Treat it as a short-term accelerator, not a lifetime contract. You can start there, build traction, gather reviews, and learn what readers respond to. Then you can decide if you want to renew or move wide. But there are also times when Select doesn't fit. Nonfiction, poetry, children's books, and visual books often don't perform well in Kindle Unlimited. Those readers aren't usually binge reading hundreds of pages per month. They tend to buy books outright instead of borrowing them. That's why authors in those genres often earn more when they go wide, because they can reach library systems, international retailers, and niche audiences outside Amazon's core demographic. Another important part of understanding how Select works is its timing. The 90-day cycle is fixed. Once you enroll, you cannot leave until the term ends. If you accidentally upload your ebook to another retailer while you're enrolled, Amazon can flag your account for breaking exclusivity, so you have to plan carefully. Always check the renewal box in your dashboard. If you don't uncheck it before the term ends, Amazon will automatically re-enroll your book for another 90 days. I've seen authors get caught by that detail. One indie sci-fi writer planned to go wide after 90 days, but he forgot to uncheck the renewal box. His book rolled over automatically, and he had to wait another full term before he could expand. He laughed about it later, but it taught him to treat the renewal date like an important calendar reminder. Let's talk about pricing for a second. Some authors assume that being in Select means they can't set their own price. Not true. You can still price your book however you like, but you'll get the best royalty rate, or 70%, only if your ebook is between $2.99 and $9.99. That applies whether you're in Select or not. The difference is that Select adds page read income on top of that, which can make pricing more flexible. When you understand all of this, you can see that KDP Select isn't a secret club or a trap. It's simply a business tool. It works beautifully for certain authors and genres, especially when used intentionally. It can also backfire if you join without a plan, expecting Amazon to do all the marketing for you. In the next section, we'll flip the perspective and talk about the alternative, wide distribution. We'll define what going wide actually means, how to do it, what stores you can reach, and what the benefits look like in practice. Section 3. What does going wide mean? So now that you understand what KDP Select is and how it works, let's talk about the other path, going wide. You've probably heard the phrase go wide tossed around in author forums and YouTube videos, but what does it actually mean in simple terms? Going wide means making your ebook and sometimes your print book available on as many retail and library platforms as possible, not just on Amazon. It's the opposite of exclusivity. When you go wide, You give readers everywhere a chance to find your book, no matter which store or app they use. Here's how it usually looks in practice. Your ebook is published on Amazon, of course, but also on Cosmodio Books, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Google Play, and sometimes smaller stores like Scribd, Smashwords, or regional retailers in other countries. That's what wide really means. You're expanding your reach beyond a single storefront. Instead of putting all your eggs in one basket, you're setting up shelves in multiple stores. It's diversification, just like in any other business. Let's talk about the main advantages of going wide. The first is reach. Not every reader shops on Amazon. In some countries, Kobo is the dominant platform. In others, Google Play has a strong market share. Apple Books is especially popular among iPhone and iPad users who often prefer buying directly from Apple's store rather than downloading the Kindle app. When you go wide, you tap into all of those ecosystems. Another big advantage is library access. Many wide distributors connect to library systems like Overdrive, Hoopla, Bibliotheca, and BorrowBox. That means libraries can order your ebook and make it available to readers who borrow digitally. For authors of nonfiction, children's books, poetry, or literary fiction, library exposure can be incredibly valuable. Even though you might not get as many page reads as a genre author on Amazon, you're building long-term visibility and credibility across new channels. Wide authors also enjoy more control over pricing and promotions. Amazon has its own pricing rules and restrictions, but other platforms give you more flexibility. You can set pre-orders far in advance, experiment with free or discounted pricing whenever you want, and run store-wide promotions through retailers like Kobo and Apple, which often feature wide books in curated lists. One of the most underappreciated benefits of going wide is stability. When all your sales depend on one platform, any algorithm change, account issue, or policy shift can hurt your income overnight. Authors who go wide spread that risk across multiple channels. If Amazon sales dip one month, their revenue from Apple or Kobo can balance things out. It's like having several small streams flowing into one big river instead of relying on one faucet. Now let's talk about the challenges, because going wide isn't magic either. The biggest one is discoverability. Amazon is a massive marketplace with built-in traffic. Readers go there daily to search for books. Other platforms don't have the same constant foot traffic, so it often takes longer to build an audience. Wide authors have to think beyond a single store's algorithm and learn to market across multiple spaces. Marketing wide means growing your mailing list, building a reader base that follows you directly, and using tools like social media and newsletters to drive readers to whichever store they prefer. You become your own distributor in a sense. That can sound intimidating, but it also gives you independence. You're not waiting for one algorithm to notice you. You're creating your own ecosystem. Here's a story that shows how it can work. A fantasy author I worked with started in KDP Select, but decided to go wide after a year. The first few months were quiet. Her sales on Apple Books and Kobo were small at first, but she kept publishing, kept showing up, and built relationships with wide friendly communities like Kobo Writing Life and Draft 2 Digital. After a year, she noticed something interesting. Her income was steadier. No more dramatic spikes and drops. Her sales came from 5 or 6 different channels. Her email list grew, and her readers started pre-ordering her next books from whichever platform they liked best. Another example is a children's author who focused on libraries. She published her picture books wide and distributed them through library systems. She visited local schools, donated copies, and built a small but loyal base of readers. Over time, Her books were borrowed hundreds of times in libraries around the world. She might not have been on Amazon's bestseller list, but her books kept circulating year after year. Going wide also gives you the freedom to sell your books directly. You can list your ebook or paperback on your own website using platforms like PayHip, Shopify, or WooCommerce. When readers buy directly from you, you keep more of the profit and control the customer relationship. And you can offer bonuses, bundles, or signed editions, things that are harder to do when you're locked into a single store. Here's the truth about going wide. It's not about making more money overnight. It's about building a foundation for long-term growth. KDP Select can give you a fast boost, but wide distribution gives you endurance. It's like the difference between a sprint and a marathon. The sprinter explodes out of the gate and reaches top speed quickly. The marathoner takes longer to build momentum, but keeps going steadily for miles. If you're a genre author who publishes often and fast, KDP Select might fit your business model. If you're building a brand, writing slowly, or creating books that appeal to libraries and international readers, going wide might be your best long-term strategy. In the next section, we'll put both paths side by side. We'll compare KDP Select and wide distribution in every major area, royalties, marketing tools, audience reach, flexibility, and career strategy, so you can see the pros and cons clearly before choosing your path. Section 4, Pros and Cons of KDP Select versus Wide Distribution. Now that you understand both KDP Select and wide distribution separately, let's look at them side by side. This is where most authors get stuck because both options sound good on paper. Each has real strengths, but those strengths only matter if they match your goals. So let's break it down the same way I explain it to new authors during consultations, one piece at a time, no jargon, no overwhelm. Let's start with visibility. KDP Select gives you access to Kindle Unlimited readers, and that's a massive audience of dedicated ebook consumers. They are already paying for the subscription, so they tend to read more and try new authors. If your genre matches that audience, visibility inside Amazon can snowball fast. Your book gets borrowed, read, reviewed, and then recommended to other readers. The algorithm notices the activity and pushes your book higher in searches and in customers also bought carousels. In short, the system rewards momentum. Wide distribution doesn't have that single giant funnel of attention. You won't have an algorithm boosting your book based on page reads, but you'll have something more stable, multiple streams of discovery. Your readers might find you on Apple Books through staff picks, on Kobo through featured promotions, or in libraries through Overdrive. Growth tends to be slower, but it's also less volatile. Next, royalties. In KDP Select, your ebook earns 70% royalties if priced between $2.99 and $9.99, plus income from Kindle Unlimited page reads. That combination can add up quickly, especially for series authors. Some authors earn more from page reads than sales because readers binge their books back to back. However, page read payments depend on Amazon's monthly fund and fluctuate slightly from month to month. With wide distribution, your royalties are simpler. You earn a fixed percentage per sale depending on the retailer, usually around 60 to 70% of the list price. There are no page reads, just direct sales. The trade-off is that you don't get paid for readers who borrow or sample your book like you do with Kindle Unlimited, but you also avoid relying on a variable fund. It's steady and predictable. Now let's look at control. When you're in KDP Select, you play by Amazon's rules. You must keep your ebook exclusive to them for the 90-day term. That means no selling digital copies on your own website, no uploading to Apple or Kobo, and no offering downloads through email campaigns. You get promotional tools, but your freedom is limited. When you go wide, you gain that freedom back. You can publish wherever you like, run your own promotions, experiment with pricing, offer free ebooks whenever you want, and even sell directly from your site. You control your pricing strategy instead of relying on one retailer's policy. Discoverability works differently in both worlds. KDP Select puts you in front of readers instantly, but competition is fierce. You're surrounded by thousands of similar titles, and staying visible requires ongoing promotion or advertising. In wide distribution, your competition is spread out across several platforms, and smaller retailers sometimes give indie authors more space in curated lists or category features. You may not get as much instant exposure, but the exposure you do get can last longer because the shelf life on smaller stores is often measured in months, not hours. Now let's talk about marketing tools. KDP Select comes with built-in promotional options like countdown deals and free book promotions. Those tools can be powerful for quick boosts, and they pair well with external promotions like newsletter swaps. Wide distribution, on the other hand, gives you access to retailer-specific features. Kobo often highlights wide authors in its promotion dashboard. Apple Books curates lists manually, giving wide books a chance to be featured organically. And library systems provide a different kind of marketing, and once your book is stocked in libraries, it can circulate for years without extra effort. Genre fit is another big factor. KDP Select tends to favor fast-paced fiction genres with devoted reader bases, such as romance, mystery, fantasy, and thriller. Those readers binge read, love series, and generate lots of page reads. Wide distribution often works better for nonfiction, children's books, poetry, and literary fiction, where readers buy rather than borrow, and where libraries and international markets matter more. Time horizon also matters. KDP Select can give you faster feedback and immediate results. If you're launching your first series and want quick traction, it's a great testing ground. Wide distribution builds slower, but it compounds over time. Many wide authors notice that after 6 months or a year, their sales graph smooths out and their audience grows steadily without sudden drops. There's also something psychological about it. Being exclusive to one platform can feel simple. You have one dashboard, one set of numbers, one system to learn. Going wide means more dashboards, more data, and more complexity. It's a little more work, but it's also more resilience. If one platform underperforms, others can balance it out. Let's recap a few real-world comparisons. A romance author in KDP Select might launch book 1, run a 5-day free promo, and get thousands of downloads that push her book up the charts. She makes money from page reads, and her second book benefits from the visibility of the first. Fast success, but she's limited to one ecosystem. Meanwhile, a travel writer going wide might not see big spikes, but his books show up in international stores where readers pay in local currencies. Libraries start ordering copies, and those small streams become steady income month after month. Neither path is better universally. Each one serves a different purpose. KDP Select is like planting a single tall tree. It grows fast and strong, but depends on one patch of soil. Going wide is like planting a forest of smaller trees. It takes longer, but once it's grown, it weathers any storm. The question isn't which one is best overall. The real question is which one is best for you right now, based on your goals, your readers, and your publishing rhythm. In the next section, We'll talk about how to switch between these two paths without losing progress, how to move from KDP Select to Wide or from Wide to Select, and what you need to know about timing, contracts, and reader communication. Section 5, switching between programs. By now, you know the strengths of both KDP Select and Wide distribution, but what if you want to change paths? Maybe you started in KDP Select and now want to expand to other stores, or maybe you went wide but want to test the power of Select for a launch. The good news is that switching is possible. You just need to understand the timing and how to do it smoothly so you don't lose momentum or confuse your readers. Let's start with moving from KDP Select to Wide. When you enroll in KDP Select, your ebook is exclusive to Amazon for 90 days. During that term, you cannot sell or distribute the digital version anywhere else, not even on your own website. So if you decide to go wide, the first step is simple but important. Wait until your 90-day term is over. You'll find your renewal date in your Amazon dashboard under the Manage eBook Enrollment section. If you want to leave, uncheck the box that says Automatically Renew. That ensures your book will not re-enroll for another term when the 90 days end. Once the term expires, your exclusivity ends automatically, and you're free to distribute your book wherever you like. Here's a pro tip that saves frustration. Don't upload your ebook to other retailers even one day early. If Amazon detects your ebook for sale elsewhere before your term officially ends, they can send you a warning or, in rare cases, suspend your enrollment privileges. So always wait until the clock runs out. When you go wide, the next step is preparing your files. Some authors simply reuse the same interior and cover, which is fine, but others take the opportunity to make updates, fix typos, adjust formatting, or add new front matter like also buy pages and links to their next books. Once your files are ready, you can either upload directly to stores like Cosmodio Books, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Google Play, or use a distributor like Draft2, Digital, or Publish Drive to reach multiple stores and library systems at once. If you already have readers on Amazon, you don't lose them when you go wide. Your Amazon listing stays active, but your ebook will no longer be part of Kindle Unlimited. Some authors worry that leaving Kindle Unlimited means losing all income. But that's not always true. Often, sales rise gradually on other platforms as you promote your book more widely and reach new audiences. Now let's look at the opposite direction, moving from Wide to KDP Select. This process is usually faster, but still requires attention to detail. When you publish Wide, your ebook is distributed to multiple retailers and sometimes library platforms. Before enrolling in Select, you must make sure your ebook is completely removed from every other store. If it's still listed elsewhere, even in a library catalog, Amazon may reject your enrollment because the book isn't truly exclusive. So the first step is to unpublish your ebook from all other channels. If you use a distributor, log in and remove the book from distribution. Wait for confirmation that the title has been taken down. This can take anywhere from a few days to a couple of weeks, depending on how quickly the retailers update their catalogs. Only after that should you go to Amazon and enroll your ebook in Select. Let me give you a real example. A mystery author I worked with was wide for 2 years. She wanted to experiment with the KDP Select to test page reads and promotions for her new boxed set. She unpublished her ebooks from Kobo, Apple, and Google Play but forgot that Draft 2 Digital had sent her books to several smaller retailers and a library system. Amazon flagged her enrollment because copies were still available through those channels. It took her another 2 weeks to fully remove them before she could join Select. Her advice later was simple. Check every outlet, even the ones you forgot you signed up for. Another important thing to plan for when switching between systems is communication with your readers. If you have a mailing list or social media followers, let them know what's happening. Readers who use Kindle Unlimited will appreciate a heads up before you leave the program so they can borrow your books before they're removed. Likewise, when you go wide, tell your readers where they can now find your books. Apple, Kobo, Google Play, or libraries. Clear communication keeps your community connected no matter where you publish. Timing also matters for marketing. If you're moving from KDP Select to wide, avoid running big promotions in the final days of your Select term. Wait until you're fully wide so your promos drive traffic across all platforms, not just Amazon. Conversely, if you're going from wide to Select, you might plan a homecoming campaign announcing that your ebook is now part of Kindle Unlimited, and that can re-energize readers who prefer borrowing over buying. The key to switching smoothly is to think of your publishing strategy as flexible, not fixed. You don't have to pick one path forever. You can move in and out of programs as your catalog and goals evolve. Some authors keep their series and Select for consistent income from page reads, while publishing standalone titles wide to build a long-term presence outside Amazon. Others do the opposite, starting wide and bringing selected titles into Select for bursts of visibility. Remember, this is your business. You're not married to a single strategy. Treat it like a cycle of experimentation. Every 90 days, review your results, adjust your path, and decide where your books belong next. In the next section, we'll bring this all to life with real author scenarios, stories of how writers in different genres made their distribution choices, what worked for them, and what they learned along the way. Section 6, Real-World Author Scenarios. We've covered a lot of theory, and by now you understand both systems, but sometimes the easiest way to see the difference between KDP Select and wide distribution is to look at real examples. Stories help turn abstract ideas into something you can picture and maybe even copy for your own publishing plan. Let's start with a romance author named Jenna. She writes quick, emotional reads that keep readers turning pages long into the night. Her audience lives almost entirely inside Amazon. They read on Kindle devices, they subscribe to Kindle Unlimited, and they devour a book a day. When Jenna released her first book, she decided to join KDP Select. She priced her ebook at $3.99, ran a free promo for 2 days, and stacked it with ads. Thousands of readers downloaded the book, and by the end of the week, her page reads exploded. Within a month, she had made more from reads than sales. She released book 2 90 days later, kept both in Select, and repeated the same launch strategy. Each new release lifted the older books. By the time book 5 came out, she had a full series that fed itself through Kindle Unlimited. Her monthly income was steady, and her readers were hooked. But Jenna had a plan. After a year, she let the first book in the series go wide. That single title became her gateway book on other platforms, leading new readers to find her series on Amazon. In other words, she used KDP Select as a launchpad, not a cage. It was a business decision, not a forever choice. Now let's shift to a nonfiction author named David. He wrote a book about productivity for creative professionals. His audience doesn't binge read novels. They buy practical guides, listen to podcasts, and borrow business books from libraries. When David first published, he tried KDP Select because everyone told him it was the best way to get visibility. He quickly realized that his readers weren't using Kindle Unlimited at all. His book wasn't gaining traction, and he couldn't sell it on other platforms because of exclusivity. After one 90-day term, he decided to go wide. He uploaded his book through Draft 2 Digital, which distributed it to Apple Books, Kobo, Google Play, and libraries through Overdrive. Slowly, sales started coming in, a few from each store. After 6 months, his library borrows picked up, and local business groups began ordering copies for workshops. Going wide matched his audience's behavior better than exclusivity ever could. Next, meet Sophia, a children's author. She creates beautifully illustrated storybooks with moral lessons and interactive questions for families. Her readers are parents, teachers, and librarians. She knew from the start that Kindle Unlimited wasn't the right fit because picture books don't generate to long-page reads. Instead, she went wide from day one. She used a distributor to reach Apple Books and library systems, then contacted her local library directly to ask how she could donate copies. That small act created word-of-mouth momentum. Teachers started requesting her books through school library systems, and she was later invited to do readings at community events. Sophia built a reputation that had nothing to do with charts or rankings. She sold fewer copies per month than a big Amazon hit, but her books stayed relevant year after year. Now let's talk about John, a thriller writer who used both strategies in sequence. John published a standalone novel, Wide, but didn't see much action. When he wrote a 3-book series, he decided to test KDP Select for the launch. He enrolled all 3 books, ran a countdown deal, and invested in targeted ads. The results were dramatic. His series took off inside the Kindle Unlimited, and his income stabilized quickly. After a year, he experimented again. He kept his main series in Select, but released a new spin-off Wide to reach international readers. The Wide book didn't explode overnight, but it kept earning quietly every month. Now John says he uses KDP Select like a spotlight and wide distribution like a safety net. His Select titles give him fast revenue, while his Wide titles keep his brand visible across the world. Finally, there's Elena, a poet and essayist. She writes deeply personal reflections on identity and culture. Poetry doesn't thrive in page read programs because readers don't usually binge through an entire collection. Elena chose wide distribution because she wanted her work in libraries, in college course lists, and on independent bookstore shelves. She published her book through a distributor that reached both retailers and academic wholesalers. She also built a direct store on her website to sell signed copies. Over time, her library sales and direct orders brought in steady income. She may never hit the top charts on Amazon, but her career is stable and respected in literary circles. These authors show that there isn't one right answer. It's not about which system is better. It's about what fits your readers, your genre, and your rhythm as a writer. If you publish fast, write in binge read genres, and want quick data, KDP Select can be an incredible short-term accelerator. If you publish slower, care about libraries and global markets, or write books that readers savor rather than binge, wide distribution will serve you better in the long run. And remember, your choice today doesn't lock you in forever. The most successful indie authors treat publishing like a portfolio. Some books live in Select for visibility, while others live wide for long-term stability. You can shift, adapt, and experiment as your catalog grows. In the final section of this episode, We'll wrap up everything you've learned with a clear summary, a simple checklist to help you decide, and a few closing thoughts to keep you focused on your bigger publishing journey. Section 7. Action Checklist. We've covered a lot in this episode of the Cosmo Publishing Podcast. We started with the basics of what KDP Select really is and how it works. Then we looked at wide distribution and how it opens your reach across stores and libraries around the world. We compared the pros and cons side by side, talked about switching between programs, and explored real-life examples from authors in every genre. By now, you should feel like you can make this decision with confidence, not based on what other people say online, but based on your own goals, your readers, and the kind of career you want to build. So let's bring it all home with a simple checklist. Think of it as your roadmap for deciding between KDP Select and wide distribution. First, ask yourself who your readers are and where they shop. If your audience lives on Amazon and reads book after book through Kindle Unlimited, Select can help you grow faster. But if your readers use other apps, prefer Apple or Kobo, or love borrowing from libraries, going wide will serve them better. Second, think about your publishing pace. If you release books quickly, every few months or multiple times a year, KDP Select gives you momentum and visibility that rewards frequent releases. If you publish slower with one book a year or more, wide distribution gives your book a longer shelf life across multiple stores. Third, consider your genre. Fast-paced fiction genres like romance, fantasy, mystery, and thriller often perform well in Select because of page reads and binge reading. Nonfiction, poetry, children's books, and literary fiction tend to perform better wide, where readers buy directly or discover you through libraries and curated lists. Fourth, think about your marketing style. Do you like focusing on one platform, learning its tools, and running ads mainly in one place? Then, Select might fit your comfort zone. Do you prefer building your own list, diversifying, and creating multiple small streams of income? Then wide is your playground. Fifth, decide how much control you want. KDP. Select is convenient, but it's also restrictive. Wide publishing gives you more independence, the ability to set your own prices, run your own promotions, and sell directly through your website. And finally, remember that nothing here is permanent. You can experiment. You can start in KDP Select to build a foundation and later expand wide. You can stay wide for your main brand and test KDP Select with a new pen name or series. Publishing is flexible. The more you experiment, the more you'll understand how each strategy fits your business. Let me leave you with one final thought. Success in publishing doesn't come from choosing the right program. It comes from staying consistent, learning as you go, and making strategic choices that match your readers. KDP Select and wide distribution are just tools. You're the one steering the ship. A few authors use Select forever and thrive. Others go wide and build careers that last decades. Both paths can lead to success. What matters most is that you understand why you're choosing one over the other and that you keep adjusting as your catalog and confidence grow. At the end of the day, your readers don't care which program you're in. They care about your stories, your message, and your voice. So whichever path you choose, make sure you spend more time writing and connecting than worrying about the details. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Cosmo Publishing Podcast. I'm your host, Gürhan, and I hope this breakdown of KDP Select versus wide distribution helped you see the big picture more clearly. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to the podcast, share it with a fellow author, and leave us a review. And remember, at Cosmo Publishing and Cosmodio Books, we're here to help you every step of the way, from formatting and cover design to distribution, ads, and full-service book marketing. Until next time, keep writing, keep publishing, and keep growing your author journey.
Welcome to Cosmo Publishing. You just tuned yourself to the coolest place to learn all about self-publishing. We are a turnkey quality service provider, from interior formatting to custom covers and everything in between, including book marketing and advertising. It is the company that books a lot.